Good morning, good morning. Everybody remember this one? Happy Halloween, my friends. My dogs around the world. It is 6:30. It is October 31st. I love Halloween. Everyone dresses up, has a good time, which a lot of people aren't doing these days anymore. But anyway, my name is Scott Redler. I am the Chief Strategic Officer of T3Live.com. Hope everyone's feeling well. It's been a very spooky market and a horrendous geopolitical landscape. But what can we do here? We can control. We try and figure out how we can make money to approach the market with a methodical plan. So this way, at the end of a month, like October 31st, you can get a paycheck or a quarter, all depending where you are. And maybe also sacrifice a little bit today for later, right? Anybody remember their favorite costume that they wore? Anyway, so where are we at? We are on, let's say, today's Tuesday. We have the Fed tomorrow. We have, we have Apple on Thursday with the jobs report Friday. There was just some news out of Europe that inflation has come in. Things are slowing down. The Fed is getting what they want. Slow down inflation. Raise rates so people don't have free money. And which is good because, a lot of ramifications giving out free money everywhere. Everyone needs to get off their arse and get a friggin' job. And what do they say? They say if you don't stand up for something, you're sitting down on your ass forever. But let's get into the markets for now. Do you remember yesterday I came in and I said we're starting to get 3 or 4 go-to stocks that came out with good earnings that probably you could buy the dip. And if we're going to start this fourth quarter move, which maybe we started yesterday, these are the ones you probably want to focus on and then figure out some chart patterns to navigate. So anyway, you guys remember Michael Jackson? It's kind of crazy that Michael Jackson didn't live past 50. Whitney Houston didn't live past 50. Prince didn't live past 50. Matthew Perry. So take care of yourselves, guys. Exercise, eat right, do some things in order to make sure you can be around for your friends, family, because, once they call your number, they don't discriminate. Anyway, look at this. So here we are. This is the SPYs, right? The SPYs. So what do you have here? You have 409.21. That was the low from Friday. Yesterday, what happened? We got above 414.60. Market showed a tiny bit of power. Still below the 8-day. We've been below the 8-day ever since breaking this pocket pivot back on October 18th. So we'll see what happens. I think we could probably see this spot or maybe even this spot prior to Wednesday. And then depending on how dovish or hawkish Powell is, then we'll see the response there. The Qs, this lower bull, bear type flag, it did kind of poke its head above to push back a little bit of the sellers. Tried to get above this 349 area, hit 350, still below the 8-day. Same way when you're in a bull tape like this, you pull back to the 8-day and continue. Sometimes you're in a bear tape where you're making lower highs. You rally back up to the 8-day until finally maybe you get above it and you stay above it, and then and then you start a new active sequence. So there's no true evidence for starting a new active sequence except for the oscillator was almost minus 40 on Friday, and now it's closer to neutral, heading into a pretty important event. IWM is still horrible, very oversold. Lows of the year. Remember this little head shoulders top pattern that triggered to the downside? Well, now you have 161.67, still below the 8-day. You look at this this weekly chart. Okay, look at that. First of all, when you look at weekly charts, you can learn a lot. Bottom line is, this channel that looked really good right here. If you fell asleep for a half a day and you missed your sales, boom, you got crushed. Small caps at 3-year lows. Same way with the XLE. XLE looked really good. Everyone on TV was talking about how you have to be in the XLE, playing a breakout for the fourth quarter. Same kind of thing happened here, where you were going up here, looked like it could be a bull flag, and then boom, get out of Dodge. That's why you always want to make sure you're caffeinated, or at least you're sitting in your chair with your head clear so you can make these decisions fast and trust your voice and your execution process. So yesterday was a little odd with not odd, but we talked about the 3 or 4 names that probably have go-to status if we're going to be strong. Okay, one of them was Amazon because of Amazon's pro-gap post-earnings, right? I've talked about that strategy many, many times. Okay, so what happened here with Amazon? You had a pro-earnings gap. So some people were long verse 125.53. Others were waiting for a continuation, and yesterday you got it. Okay, broke above 130, saw a high of what? 133. I like this laugh. Ready? Anyway, not a lot to, I mean, there's not a lot to laugh about out there. You got to laugh at yourself. Anyway, 133 is the high. So now I would say, you could probably be a buyer of Amazon on a dip versus and go sideways, and this should continue to the upside. Okay, right now Amazon's down 20 cents, so not really participating in this little move here, but I think you could buy a dip. So with that being said, that is what you call a post-earnings strategy. If you didn't take it into earnings, there's a way to approach it thereafter. Netflix, got a little wishy-washy, but ultimately same kind of thing. I actually sold it into strength on this day, on this red dog reversal. I never bought it back, but the bottom line is it held this earnings gap. This is your earnings gap right here. So when you hold an earnings gap, that means there's a lot of pent-up upside momentum with shorts trapped, and just gives you the clues that you could stay with it. So Netflix at some point, probably takes out this downtrend if we are in the start of a fourth quarter rally, which is still a big if. So both of those are on my go-to list. Meta is also on my go-to list. Meta still is kind of sloppy, meaning this chart's not great. It's just coming into this downtrend area. This high here is 30940. So I would think with maybe a little bit of a pause here and digestion, it could take that out. Okay, so Meta is on the go-to list also. Why? Because it responded well to earnings. Okay, Microsoft on the go-to list. Microsoft just happened to come out with earnings the day before the weakest day of the year, so this earnings gap got filled, but then it came back up fast. So it rebuilt real fast. So Microsoft, to me, is in the game as well. So at some point, I do think it probably takes out this spot and continues. But again, you gotta know your pricing and how many shares you got. So those are on the go-to list side. On the downside list, yesterday I pointed out Tesla, and I said there are 2 camps. One are saying, hey, Tesla didn't make a new low yesterday. The other saying, hey, Red Dog, look at this bear flag. And yesterday it showed some massive relative weakness. And when Tesla's above the 820 one day, my boy Elon, we're like buddies, but when Tesla's below the 820 one day, he's a little eccentric, he's a little all over the place, and you have to be very, very careful because momentum names that have high valuations when they're below the 820 one day, that means they're technically weaker and they're prone to downside. So anyway, Tesla yesterday broke this bear flag to the downside. So remember, I'm like, if it doesn't get above 212, the bears might growl, and then all of a sudden, if you wanted to trigger sell short, went below 204, and then also got below 202.50, which is right here. That's that pivot, and went to as low as 194.67. So Tesla is giving some downside follow through. So if you took Tesla short, which made sense, if you made just really good money in it, maybe you took a third home short, same way you would do it on the flip side, cover some and then figure it out. And some people are like, hey, Red Dog, where is Tesla going? You look at the weekly chart. This is 190. I don't know. I guess 189-ish could happen. A lot could happen. Anything could happen, but you want to kind of map things out. This is 189. This was look at this wedge to the downside, this bigger wedge. So besides a bear flag on the daily, you had this wedge break to the downside, here. So that's why sometimes you want to look at daily charts, weekly charts. When time frames line up, you get paid. And those who are really good at shorting, I was short Tesla a little bit yesterday. Probably didn't do as well as I should have because I'm not a great short, which I'm trying to get better at. This was your day and a half move. Congratulations, you just got served. I'm kidding, got paid. Anyway, so that's on the other side of the coin. And then Google, it saved itself a little bit yesterday. Google did a little red dog reversal around the 200-day on Monday, and then pushed up a little bit, filled this gap, so this no longer has pressure there. So this is gone. I think Google is kind of in the have side, even though there's still this big gap up on the upside. But we'll see. So that's something I think you could approach a little bit more opportunistic versus whatever I just said before with Tesla. I will say though, you have Apple on Thursday. Apple just came right back into the moving averages. It happens. Apple's been in a grindy downtrend since the highs here. Okay, and then what did it do? It just pretty much just worked off its little oversold nature into the moving averages. Earnings are going to be interesting for that on Monday. Lots of talked about how iPhone 15 is not selling well in China and this and that. And I have myself. I don't even know which one this is, but it's the Pro of something or other. And I'm not even interested in getting a new phone yet. I think this one cost me like $1,600 a bunch of years ago. But anyway, we'll see. That's going to be important. So first, we have to get through the Fed. You have to get through the Wednesday Fed. You have to get through the day after the Fed, and then you have earnings, and then you have jobs report. And according to a few of my friends, this historically is supposed to be, the best week of the year, or one of the best weeks. We'll see. So far, yesterday was more of a Dow day, and all it was broken names giving broken bounces. So we'll see, how these patterns, get better. Pins is up a bunch. Look at that. That's interesting. Pins has been in this range for I don't even know how long. 29.65 is a spot. I probably wouldn't be buying that spot, but it's, at least it's responding well. At least you're getting specific action to selected news. Nvidia yesterday felt weaker and kind of dragged. I'm not sure what's going to happen here. Earnings aren't for another 2 weeks, like mid-November-ish. So you could say it kind of went back into the 8-day, pushed back a little bit here. What's this high? This high is 417.66. People tried to press this yesterday. I actually tried to short this yesterday. It didn't work. I lost a little bit. When Tesla was falling apart, it just felt like sometimes these things move together. But it's still hanging in here. But you still, this it'll be interesting to see how it goes. It's just still have this distribution pattern. It held it held this area at first kiss, and now we'll see what goes on here. I think there was some more news about China restrictions, etc. It's down 255. It hasn't been the same Nvidia that it was, which some stocks are never. So I'm not the same red dog I was when I was, in my 40s, 30s, and 20s. I used to did 2 Ironman 10 marathons, and now I'm retired to Ragnar, races in the mountains. I am going to Florida December 3rd for a race with my guys. So if you're going to be racing the Ragnar in Florida, let me know, okay? And maybe come hang out with my team. But anyway, so we'll see what happens here. AMD's after the close. I think expectations are really low for AMD. From 132 down to 93-ish, people are kind of just, I don't know, not fed up, but frustrated. I know for me, there hasn't been that many ways to make really good money in AMD for a while. If you wanted to do something, right, earnings are after the close today, I think, right? October 31st, Halloweenies. I'd say put on a call spread. Maybe you do like 100 by 105 or something like that. Even if you get just a rally back to the moving averages, 104-ish, you can make some money. Sentiment's pretty sour there. Same thing that happened to Netflix. Netflix sentiment was so sour, and then they had a solid report. You had a big gap up. Sentiment here is pretty sour also because it's been such a grindy move lower. I'd rather see you buy a call spread. I might even look into a call spread a little bit later in the afternoon, but we'll see. As far as the TLTs, which has been dictating the tape a little bit, you have this lower level wedge type here, or pocket pivot. If this were to finally clear this spot, maybe it would help the equities a little bit. The issuance was a little lower yesterday by 80 billion, just 80 billion amongst friends, so that helped a little bit. What's the TLTs doing today? TLTs are up 95 cents. That's interesting. You would think that equities would be responding a little bit better. Not yet. Here's 84.94. This high here is what? 84.97. So it gets above 85-ish. This is you can move this down now. Here's your 21-day. 21 day is, oh, is it above the 21 day? No, that's almost 86-ish. Hasn't been above that in a while. So maybe that would cause a bit of a trend. It's hugged the 8 day all the way down. So, I'm not saying there's going to be a reversal in the TLT and treasuries, etc. But, when you get close to Fed day on Wednesday, if it happens to be a little bit more dovish because of all the craziness happening in the world and the slowdown in some of the statistics, maybe all of a sudden rates come in a little bit and equities go up a little bit, and then we lift into the fourth quarter, which we'll see if that happens. Anywho, I'm going to try and stay with, my go-to stocks and figure out if I could buy them on dips and stay with them and not fall asleep behind the wheel. Every sequence the market changes, and as of right now, Tesla's more on the weaker side. Remember when Tesla led this sequence? This was a lot of fun. This is here. Remember May. Look at that beautiful move in May. I made a lot of money long Tesla here. That's when it's above the 8 and 21 day. From here down, it's below. That is why I do all of my evergreen little teachings about the 8 and 21 day, because it helps get rid of the opinions of what you think of a certain stock or the CEO, and you just look at the composure of the trend and the nature of the movement. Here was very bullish, and then the gap down changed it. Here you had another sequence, and then here now it's, who knows? It's just, you're out of the way. Take little trades. That's it. So it's Tuesday. I don't think today's going to be one of those crazy days. Maybe, who knows? Could be a little bit of packing and filling and some individual stock movement. And then tomorrow is the Fed. So we'll see where we are tomorrow. Wish I had more for you at this point. I come in a little light also, trying to be light. Oh, some people are like, what about gold? Well, gold looks good. Gold had a nice trend also. Whereas the GLD this morning, it's up 23 cents. It does seem like, gold could continue. Look at this. Remember the gap up and then all of a sudden hugging the 8 day. Isn't that another quinky dink? Remember when Tesla was strong, it hugged the 8 day. So gold does it too. It could be a commodity. It could be anything. Moving averages help. So at this point, it does seem like as long as this 8 day holds, chances are digests, it could see a move above the prior highs here of 91, 91.36. And as far as Bitcoin's concerned, we made a lot of money in BITO calls. I'd love to catch another move here, but I think we need to see it. Actually, look at this nice little bull flag here in Bitcoin. Bitcoin also, hey, look at that. What a quinky dink. It woke up when it triggered above 28 and change, and it's been above the 8 day since. That's a strong trend, and now it's going sideways, letting the 8 day catch up. So you go to the weekly chart of Bitcoin. Looks kind of like 37 to 39 could happen, right? Building another little inside consolidation here. So hopefully you've made some money. For the last year and a half, I've been talking about the only thing I think you could buy is Bitcoin every single month. Stay away from the altcoins. Stay away from all those 90% of these zeros. Yeah, you can make some money if you trade them all. It's almost like trading like ARK names or high growth names. But anyway, Bitcoin, to me, is here to stay longer term. So it could be part of your asset portfolio. Like if you have 10% gold, 20% bonds, 60% equities, you got to have 10% Bitcoin. If you trade it, though, use the same kind of rules as we use in stocks. When it triggers above the 8 day, see if it holds it, goes sideways, and this would be, I think, where we can get to at some point towards year end. If you're trading BITO, okay, then trade that. It's an ETF that you can do equities with. So all in all, you got to keep looking around. You got to keep your go-to list, which for me, when I write my note, is like 40 different names, and I rotate some in, I rotate some out, all based on the action and how the composure is shaping up. So with that said, it is 6:49. I got to jump. It's Halloween. Hopefully, if you have a lot of kids and they're younger, make sure they're safe. Look at their candy, and dress up, have some fun. It's Tuesday. If it was a Thursday, I think maybe it could be Thursday on Tuesday. You got to be a little bit, more responsible. And as far as everything that's happening in the Mideast, I can't really, all I could say is if you don't stand up for something, you're always sitting down. You stand up for nothing. Okay, I support Israel. I'll see you guys later. I also support life, but those guys that were sitting there in their concert on October 7th, or sitting there in their, in their kibbutz, they didn't ask for anything. Okay, they got attacked. Okay, so there are ramifications to that.